I welcome you to my channel. Subscribe and listen to my new stories every day. The first sign that something was amiss was subtle, a missing wedding photo from our dresser, a space now marked only by a lighter patch of wood untouched by sunlight. My heart twisted in confusion, but I told myself it was probably misplaced during cleaning. Still, doubt nagged at me, a relentless whisper that something was not right. I wrestled with the decision for weeks. The idea of surveillance felt like crossing a forbidden line. But the gnawing suspicion wouldn't let me be. Finally, in a mix of desperation and fear, I installed a hidden camera in our bedroom, justifying it as a temporary measure to appease my paranoia. Weeks passed, the normalcy of our days lulling me into a sense of foolish security. Perhaps it was all in my head, I thought. Until one evening, alone with a glass of whiskey for company, I remembered the camera. With trembling fingers, I played the recorded footage. The screen flickered to life, and there she was, my wife, Amanda, but not as I knew her. She was clad in latex, a stark contrast to the woman who wore soft sweaters and floral perfumes. My breath hitched as I saw who was with her, my own father. He, a figure of respect and authority, was entangled in an illicit embrace with my wife, his son's partner. The visual burned into my retinas, an image so grotesque and shocking that it seemed surreal. Rage bubbled up from a dark place within me as their moans filled the quiet room, a vile soundtrack to my crumbling reality. "How could you?" I whispered into the empty room, my voice a broken record of betrayal. Days blurred into nights as plans of confrontation and revenge took root in my mind. Dialogue with Amanda ceased. How could I speak to her knowing what I knew? Instead, I poured my energy into a calculated plan. If she had chosen to ruin the sanctity of our marriage, would ensure the destruction was mutual. The evidence piled up, covertly gathered from my own home, a place that had once signified safety and love. Legal and financial avenues were explored, divorce papers drafted. I meticulously orchestrated the reveal, a final showdown where every card would be laid bare. At last, the moment of confrontation arrived. With the cold precision of a chess player about to declare checkmate, I faced Amanda and my father. Their faces, once dear and familiar, now twisted in shock as the video played before them on the living room TV. There were no tears left to shed, only the ashes of a relationship that once burned brightly. Amanda's apologies were a cacophony of meaningless noise as I handed her the divorce papers. "We're done," I stated, my voice devoid of emotion, a stark contrast to the raging storm inside. She pleaded, her words a desperate clawing at a door firmly shut, but my decision was irrevocable. The legal processes were swift, fueled by my unwavering resolve to sever all ties. Assets divided, documents signed, and just like that, the woman I once loved became a stranger. The house emptied slowly, each item she took a piece of the past walking out the door until nothing remained but the echo of what used to be. As the final car pulled away, I stood at the window, watching as Amanda disappeared from my life. The streetlight cast long shadows, mirroring the dark void she left behind. There was no satisfaction in this revenge, only the bitter aftertaste of betrayal lingered. With the house now silent, I turned to face the interior, my new reality. The journey of healing would be long and arduous, but necessary. For now, the chapter was closed, the plot of deceit and revenge complete, but the scars would remind me forever of the cost of trust misplaced. The following days are a blur of motions and raw nerves, as if the world insists on moving while I remain frozen in the aftershock of Amanda's betrayal. I wander through the echoing halls of my now too quiet home, each step a reminder of the life I once lived and the deceit that unraveled it. The silence is oppressive, almost tangible in its weight, yet it's in these quiet moments that the anger simmers, fueled by memories and shattered trust. I'm pulled from my reverie by the sharp ring of the phone. It's Amanda. "Mark, please, we need to talk," her voice is shaky, pleading. "Can we meet? There's so much I need to explain." "There's nothing left to say," I respond, my voice flat, devoid of the warmth it once held for her. Please, just one meeting. I owe you that much. Reluctantly, I agree. Perhaps part of me needs this closure, or maybe I just need to see if there's any remorse in her eyes. We meet at a quiet cafe, neutral territory that's far removed from the tainted spaces of our shared past. She's already there when I arrive, looking small and fragile, a stark contrast to the bold figure in the latex suit. Mark, she begins, but I cut her off. How could you, Amanda? With my own father? I demand, my voice barely contained. What did I ever do to deserve that? I'm so sorry, Mark. It was never meant to hurt you, she says, her eyes pleading for understanding. That's supposed to make it better. It doesn't. It makes it worse. You chose him knowing full well who he was to me. I know, and I regret it every day. It started as just talking, and then, it just happened. I never meant for it to go that far. Did you think about us, about our vows? I ask, the hurt evident in my tone. I did, but it was too late. I was too selfish, she admits, tears starting to form in her eyes. The confession doesn't soothe the raw edges of my pain, if anything, it sharpens them. And you thought I'd never find out? You thought you'd play happy families with me while deceiving me in the worst possible way? No, I don't know what I thought, she stammers, her composure breaking. I take a deep breath, trying to steady the tumult inside me. I want you to know that I'm moving on, Amanda. Legally, emotionally, every way that matters. You and he, just memories now, ones I wish I could erase. She nods, wiping away tears, a broken semblance of the woman I once loved. I understand. And I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'm truly sorry, Mark. The words hang between us, cold and hollow. Sorry isn't enough, it'll never be enough to mend the chasm her actions have carved through my life. I stand to leave, the finality of the moment wrapping around me like a chill. Goodbye, Amanda. Mark, she calls out as I walk away, but I don't look back. Her voice fades into the background noise of the cafe, just another sound I leave behind. As I step outside, the cool air hits me with the sharpness of a new beginning. It's not a clean slate, far from it, but it's a step. A step away from the past, from betrayal, and towards something resembling a future. The pain remains, a constant echo of what was lost, but as I walk down the street, I feel the faintest spark of something else, resolve. It's time to rebuild, to redefine who I am without her. And as I blend into the crowd, the city around me buzzes with life, indifferent to my heartbreak but somehow comforting in its constancy. Life goes on, and so will I, one step at a time. The days following our meeting at the cafe move slowly, dragging with them a somber realization: closure is not found in a single conversation, nor is it gifted through a heartfelt apology. True closure, I discover, must be earned, often through paths we hesitate to tread. This realization propels me forward, into action, fueled by a need to confront the other half of the betrayal, my father. The idea of facing him stirs a mix of anger and desolation within me. He, who taught me the values of honesty and integrity, now the epitome of betrayal. I drive to his house on a brisk, clear morning. The familiar streets, once scenes of childhood adventures, now lead me to a confrontation I never imagined. As I pull into the driveway, my heart pounds with a cocktail of emotions: fear, anger, determination. He's there, waiting on the porch as if he anticipated my arrival, or perhaps dreaded it. His appearance is weary, the lines of his face deeper, each one a mark of the deception he's lived. Mark, he begins as I approach, his voice heavy. I've been expecting you. I bet you have, I reply, my tone sharp as the morning air. We need to talk. He nods, stepping aside to let me into the house. The interior feels alien, a stark reminder of a relationship that once offered comfort and now only offers pain. We sit in the living room, the silence between us thick and uncomfortable. Why? I ask, the single word heavy with all the confusion and betrayal. He sighs, a deep, ragged sound. It wasn't planned, Mark. It never is. She was there, and one thing led to another. It's no excuse. I failed you as a father. That's it. She was just there. I scoff, unable to mask the bitterness. You destroyed our family for a fling. It was more complicated than that, he replies, shifting uncomfortably. I was lonely, your mother has been gone so long, and Amanda, she was like a presence that filled up empty spaces. By wearing a latex suit. By lying to me, your son. My voice rises with each question, echoing around the room. He doesn't meet my eyes. I'm sorry, Mark. More sorry than I can express. If I could take it back, I would. Sorry doesn't change what happened. It doesn't undo the betrayal, I snap, standing to face him fully. You were my role model, my hero. And you fell so far from what I believed you were. He looks up, finally meeting my gaze. There's sorrow there, genuine and deep, but it's too late. I know I can't change the past, but I am here to face whatever comes. I owe you that much. I don't know what comes next, I admit, the anger ebbing slightly, replaced by a weary resignation. But this, us, it's broken. And I don't think it can be mended. We stand there, the chasm of our fractured relationship stretching out between us. I turn to leave, pausing at the door. Take care of yourself, Dad, I say, the title feeling foreign on my tongue. He nods, a single tear tracing down his cheek. You too, son. As I walk back to my car, the crisp air fills my lungs, offering a small relief from the stifling atmosphere of the house. The drive home is reflective, filled with a sad sort of clarity. Confronting him didn't bring the vindication I expected. Instead, it underscored a painful truth: some broken things cannot be put back together. But as the city skyline comes into view, a thought solidifies: perhaps it's not about putting old pieces back together but building something new on my own. True, the betrayal has reshaped my landscape, but it also cleared space, a space where new foundations can be laid, this time on my terms. As the days bleed into weeks, the initial shock of betrayal hardens into something darker, something unforgiving. The images of Amanda and my father, the pain they've caused, fuel a cold resolve within me. No longer content with merely moving on, I find myself driven by a need for retribution, a desire to make them feel the depth of the pain they've inflicted. I begin to lay the groundwork for my revenge, meticulous and methodical. My actions are calculated, designed to dismantle their lives piece by piece, just as they dismantled mine. First, I turn to the digital realm, a place where secrets once shared can become weapons. I craft an anonymous email filled with the incriminating videos and send it to their colleagues, friends, and in my father's case, the members of his local community group, of which he is a respected leader. The fallout is immediate and devastating. Their social standings, once unblemished, crumble under the weight of public scandal. But this is just the beginning. Next, I target their finances. Using my knowledge of my father's business and Amanda's online spending habits, I tip off the IRS for a thorough investigation into my father's company and report Amanda for tax evasion. The investigations drag on, each day tightening the noose around their once comfortable lifestyles. As they struggle to keep their heads above water, I watch from the shadows, a silent observer to their unraveling lives. Their pleas for mercy, sent through desperate emails and voicemails, go unanswered. My heart, once warm and forgiving, now beats with an icy rhythm of vengeance. Finally, I decide it's time to confront them one last time. I arrange a meeting, pretending to offer an olive branch, a chance for reconciliation. They arrive together, hopeful, naive. We meet in an old, deserted warehouse, a fitting place for the endgame of our family drama. Mark, thank you for agreeing to meet, Amanda begins, hope flickering in her eyes. We've been through so much, I just. Save it, I interrupt coldly. I didn't bring you here to forgive you. Their expressions falter, confusion and fear creeping in as they glance around the stark, empty space. What do you want, Mark? My father asks, his voice unsteady. I want you to understand what you've taken from me, I say, my voice steady and calm. You stole my happiness, my trust, and you've made a mockery of our family. Mark, we're sorry, we truly are, Amanda pleads, stepping towards me. I step back, disgust written all over my face. Sorry doesn't give me back my life. It doesn't erase the images that haunt me. I pull out my phone and dial a number, keeping my eyes fixed on them. Within minutes, the sound of police sirens fills the air, growing louder as they approach. What did you do? My father asks, panic rising. I made sure justice is served. For tax fraud, for everything. They're here for you, I state plainly. The color drains from their faces as the police enter, their steps echoing in the hollow space. The officers read them their rights, handcuffing them without ceremony. As they are led away, Amanda turns to me, tears streaming down her face. Mark, please. I hope you find the same mercy you showed me, I say, turning away, the final chord of our tragedy struck with precision. I walk out of the warehouse alone, the cold air hitting my face, not as a bomb but as a reminder of what I've become. In seeking revenge, I've lost a part of myself too. But as I drive away, leaving the past and its betrayals behind, I realize that some endings are necessary. Harsh, yes, but necessary to close the chapters of deceit and begin anew, on my own terms, in a world where trust is a commodity I no longer afford freely.